everybody listen to Darren Carter. Yeah. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to a Pocket Party. Pocket Party. Darren.
All right, we're going to call Mike Black.
Hello.
Hello, is this Mike Black returns?
It is.
No, Mike Black is back.
Yes, all of those things.
All of those things. That's funny, because, you know, when you see someone's name online for so long, you get used to like, oh, you're the, you know, and then they change it. It's, I've always just kept my name on there. I'm like, you know.
What is your name on there? Darren Carter, party starter?
No, I just go with @Darren Carter, but then on Instagram, I'm a official Darren Carter, and it's not because there's other Darren Carter. Well, there are other Darren Carters, but I created an account, and then I forgot what it was, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go with official. That way, people know I'm the real one, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone challenged you?
No, not yet. Although there for a while there was a really popular soccer player in England who I would sometimes get his messages like but he was like, yeah, very athletic young guy, and so like I'm like, okay, these are clearly not my fans. These are like, you know, like that was about 10 years ago.
The soccer hooligans were sending you a lot of mail.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I so popular? Why am I trending or whatever? But it was like, okay, this is, which is weird because on Wikipedia, I think they've, you know how Wikipedia it's not that accurate. It's, they have some facts right and then some are wrong. Like my birthday, they gave me his birthday. So sometimes I'll go to places and they're like, you know, like, hey, so you're born in 1983, and and I'm just like, you know, do the math. Do I look like I was born in 83? But I'm like, you know, of course you don't say that. You're like, yeah, that's right. I'm 15 years. Yeah, that's right. You know,
yeah. They're using that as an excuse when he does badly. They're like, well, really, he's much older than his file says.
Yeah. I will say though, I bought a. You know, I've been usually with my stage wardrobe. For the last few years, I've just gone with the solid blue T-shirt, and it's made it very easy to pack and to just not even think about it. Kind of like the Steve Jobs approach, where you're just like, all right, I got my jeans and my blue shirt, and sometimes I go V-neck, sometimes I go crew neck, but this is what it is.
I always thought you dressed like you didn't think about it that much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing about 10, 12 years ago, I was going through this phase where I was like, you know what, I'm going to dress up, man. You know, dress for success. Dress for the part you want. That's what they always say, right? So I remember buying like some really cool, I went to like Nordstrom and got some dress shirts and you know, I wore like slacks and I don't know, man, it just didn't feel right for me. And it just, the whole thing was, you know, and it didn't work, by the way. It wasn't like all of a sudden you start getting these high paying corporate gigs where they're like, pay them $100,000 to come. It's like, and then my wife kind of made a joke. She's like, why don't you work on your act instead of your wardrobe? And I'm like, you know what? That's good. That's good, honey. So that's kind of when I decided to, like, you know, work on my comedy a little bit more. Not that I wasn't working on it before, but then I put the focus on something else other than all the bells and whistles, you know? Yeah, where I don't know if you've ever gone through that phase, but I would go like, worry about like my walk-up song, or, you know, not worry, but I would be, you know, when I get excited to do the road, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go up to this I'm gonna go up to this song by AC/DC because it's gonna really set the mood. Or I'd pick like the hot song of the week, and that's gonna really, and I realized like that doesn't matter. It doesn't, you know, it's almost better to not do that, because then you can create your own energy when you're on stage.
Right.
And also,
I think you're absolutely right, or, well, your wife is absolutely right, that none of that stuff is ultimately going to change the show all that much. It's that first joke and that last joke that really matter the most, you know?
Exactly. It's like, you know...
And if you're blaming a set on, you know, I wore a mauve shirt, you know, and
yeah.
you have a lot of other things to worry about. If
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
I know, people get those things in their heads, almost like baseball players. Like they have their, those superstitions. Like I knew a guy. He thought he always bombed whenever he wore a certain color. Like he's like, I just can't wear green on stage, man. It's,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
I've known a lot of headliners that really are superstitious about a lot of things, and it's funny. You almost don't want to tell them. It's like they're like, I didn't have my lucky crystal on today,
Right.
and I lost the audience about halfway through. No, you lost them because you told the same joke
Yeah,
like a second time.
Yeah. You repeated yourself in the same set. Like,
Yeah, the audience was looking around like, does he know he already told us this?
yeah,
And it's, to be fair, you have so much to keep track of in an hour-long set, especially if you're doing like prepared material the entire time.
oh yeah,
That it messes with your head, I think, and you do start making things important that aren't. Like, I need, people, you see it in their riders a lot. I need 2 fresh bottles of Evian on stage that have not been cracked open, and if I don't have that, I don't go on. It's like,
yeah,
I think any old water will do it. Water works pretty much the same,
yeah.
no matter what bottle it's in.
Exactly. I will say, it's funny you say not cracked open, because what I like to do is I make sure that the water bottle is like the cap is off, because you know how many times you see a person on stage that they're struggling with holding the microphone, trying to like twist open the bottle of water, and then it's like, I just don't want to combine electronics and liquid.
Right. To me, that's the smarter option. But what happens is those guys get it in their head that, someone could taint the water somehow, or drug me or something.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, I guess they could, but you're not that important.
Exactly. It's like,
people aren't sending ninjas out to comedy clubs.
I know. How about how do you feel about having a stool on stage? Do you like one? Do you not like one?
I prefer it because I'm lazy.
Do you prefer do you prefer a certain kind of stool? Because I tell you, I have an answer for all this.
At my weight, beggars can't be choosers. It's pretty much one that'll hold me. That's what I prefer. But we don't always get what we want. Part of it is I like the look of it.
Yeah.
And it's I like a lot of, I guess I'm traditionalist when it comes to stand-up comedy. There are certain things that I like, that I think of when I think of a comedy stage. I think of the stool and the microphone and the spotlight. All the rest of it could be any kind of show. But those particular things say stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And even more so if there's like a brick wall behind it, that's very.
Oh yeah.
Nobody does that anymore, but it's resonates in my mind as very much
and I think
a specific to stand-up sort of thing.
And I think those things are subtly important because the audience sees that, what you just described, and then the person can get away with more on stage that you wouldn't at, like, let's say at Costco or Kohl's or Macy's or just a grocery store. It's like, because then it might come across as weird or rude or
right, and it's part of the iconography. Some clubs, and I really like when they do this, and I don't think enough of them understand how important it is. They'll leave a spotlight on the stage, the microphone, and the stool before the show.
Oh, I like that.
And just that image puts this anticipation in people's minds.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm definitely at a comedy show. There's no question where they are or what they're doing. And they think of comedy that they've seen before. And it also harkens to how simple it is. To how,
Yeah.
there's not an orchestra, there's not pyrotechnics, there's not, it's like people have incorporated all those things to be sure, but none of that is necessary to do this. What's necessary is one person using their mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very, very cool setup to preamble for a show, is just that simple imagery.
Absolutely. The type of stool that I prefer is like a wood stool with a flat surface, so you can put down your
Yeah.
water bottle without it tipping over, and you can, you know what I mean? Like
I'm not a fan of the leather, sweaty ass stool.
The big cushiony, puffed up one where nothing balances on it, and you're like,
right. If it's real wide, I guess, but like overall, it should be a wooden stool.
I did a show,
and it should be a little uncomfortable, motivating you to not sit on it the entire time.
Exactly.
You're up there.
Yeah, we've been doing shows at the Roosevelt Hotel, the historic Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, near Hollywood and Highland. For your listeners, come out sometime. They do them usually on Saturdays. Just check my Instagram when I'm going to be there. But I've been hosting the shows, and I'm going to be doing like a regular set, I believe June 26th. But I've been hosting the shows, which I really like hosting because I'm working with a lot of big name comics, almost all headliners. I would say all headliners, and they've been using these wireless microphones. But I got to tell you, it's kind of funny, and this is what goes along with being like a veteran comic.
Mm-hmm.
As I didn't realize that they had put these velvet ropes around the stage, I guess for social distancing, and also the way it was positioned. People had kind of blocked the aisle, so when they were like, and they don't have a guy to introduce you, so I do it from the back of the room, which I don't mind. That's another thing I don't mind, because early on I would have freaked out. They can't hear my voice, and I'm going to be the same guy. All that stuff. So I'm backstage where I love doing this, where I go, ladies and gentlemen, showtime will begin in 5 minutes. Please wrap up your conversations. Take your, walk, and I get people to kind of realize like, oh, something's about to happen, and then I'll be like, 1 minute, folks, 1 minute, please silence those cell phones. 1 minute, silence those cell phones. Stand-up comedy, and to kind of let them know it's the preamble. It's about to happen. It's about to kind of we got to get make our way from the bar back to the, and then. When I do that, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for some stand-up comedy tonight in Hollywood? Come on now, let me hear ya! And they're doing all that stuff, and of course you borrow all those tricks you've heard. You guys can do better than that. Come on, put your hands together. All that stuff. And I was like, and I give my credits, blah blah blah, to kick off the show. Please welcome, and I give my credit, Darren Carter. But and I do my thing, and so they're clapping, they're applauding, and it was great because as they're doing that, I'm walking and I have the wireless microphone. But then it was funny because as I make my way to the stage, I couldn't get up there because of all the velvet ropes. And then I just kind of broke character, and I was like, hey guys, it's me. I'm the same guy that did this voice right here, and I don't know how to get to the stage. and then I somehow, and this was actually pretty funny off the cuff, is like I ended up in the VIP because there was a group of like IG models that were right by the stage, and I was somehow in their little corner, and I'm like, how do I get out of here? And people are laughing, and then I was like, I finally stepped over the thing, and I got up there, and I'm like, ta-da, hello everybody, I made it. And it was great just to kind of get that, loosen them up. And I basically warmed up for myself, and I didn't realize that there wasn't a stool up there, but I'm only doing like 5 to 10 just to kind of warm them up, and then I'll do time in between. I come off stage from Saturday Night Live. We had Finesse Mitchell, and Finesse was like, Darren, we need a stool. I gotta have a stool. There's no stool up there. Where are we gonna put our drinks? Where are we gonna put it? I was like, yeah, you know what? So then we got the stool, and it was, and then another person came up, and this might have been more of a COVID type of thing, but they were like, do we get our own microphones? I was like, yes, you do. But, it's just like, it was just kind of funny that the stool was important. And then one comic was worried about sharing microphones, but, it was like,
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, it was great to be back on that kind of, the one thing that they had that I liked was, they had a house plant, maybe like a 7-foot or 6-foot house plant, and to kind of give it that tropical feel. And whenever there's a thing like that, I'll always make a way to hide behind it as a joke, I'll figure out a way to like incorporate, because I just know it looks funny when I hide behind a plant and I kind of open it up like I'm peering through the blinds. And they had if you ever do that show, you're gonna love it, because they have like photographers from Getty Images, and they have I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Frankie Leal, but Frankie Leal is there. They have these great photographers, and it was so cool. I went behind the plant, and I'm only back there for maybe 10 seconds, but the Rich Fury from Getty Images, he snapped a photo, and I was able to like capture that moment, and I uploaded it yesterday, and I put the song underneath. I always feel like somebody's watching me, but
that is who sings that?
That was Rockwell and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson did the backup for him, right?
Yeah, because I want to say was it Berry Gordy's son or nephew or something? Is that who Rockwell is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
so there's like that connection. Like, whatever happened to him, I wonder.
Michael, why don't you sing backup on my nephew's song? Really? Yeah.
I always feel like. Yeah. Did you ever do impressions?
Yeah.
You did?
Long time ago. I don't really like doing it that much. I have no problem with other comics doing it, but it seems like one of two things happen if you do a good impression of somebody.
Yeah.
One, everyone's already doing it.
Yes.
All the other comics are already doing it. Or B, they're not, and they learn how to do it from you, and then everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Right, because then you're doing all the highlights of how that person speaks, and
yeah, you've cracked the code on it, and basically, unless you're doing it on Saturday Night Live,
yeah,
when other comics see it, they just think it's just up for grabs, and they just, I should start doing John Malkovich or whatever,
Yeah, what's that one that everybody would do, like the
Christopher Walken?
Yes, that's the one.
The worst.
My father's. I don't even do impressions of those kind of guys, and I just do what those other guys do. My father.
He's our generation's Jack Nicholson. What Jack Nicholson was to comics in the 80s, where everybody was just had to have that impression in their bag.
Oh yeah.
And Schwarzenegger is both. Like he was their generation and our generation.
Oh yeah, let's think. Let's if we can remember the top 3 impressions. Yes, Arnold, get down, Choppa, all that stuff. Arnold.
Right. I'll be back. All that. Yeah.
Jack Nicholson. Here's Jack. I mean, when you see a guy do a good Jack Nicholson, it is pretty cool. I saw do it. Have you ever worked with David Gee from the Hollywood Improv?
No.
He does a great one. Maybe because I feel like he's getting close to Jack Nicholson's age, and he just has that. And plus, it's kind of cool because it's so throwback that it's like kind of new again. Because you don't really see people in 2021 doing Jack Nicholson like you did
right
in the 90s and in the 80s and all that. But when he does it, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It's like a throwback. It's Throwback Thursday.
Yeah,
but he could do it. And remember, for a while, all these comics were doing Crocodile Hunter.
Yes.
That was another one that was huge. Like I'm in the hood, and today we're seeing a baby's mama, or whatever they would.
Yeah, and of course every president.
Oh yeah, every president. Yeah,
going back to Nixon.
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
There was a comic, I forget his name, but he did a great JFK, and he was known for it. And then of course his career was pretty much in the toilet after.
JFK died.
Yeah, it was like, and people will probably know his name. I can't remember right now, but he. But by the way, I'm looking up Rockwell, and it said to avoid the appearance of nepotism, he secured his record deal without his father's knowledge. Somewhere I hear a foghorn. Bullshit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. I highly doubt that happened. Motown actually came up with the name Rockwell, and the young Gordy agreed to the change because he believed he rocked well.
Okay.
In 1984, Rockwell had his biggest single, "Somebody's Watching Me," with his childhood friend, Michael Jackson, singing the chorus lyrics, and Jermaine Jackson singing backup. Oh my gosh. Wow, this This song actually didn't do that well as I thought it would. According to Wikipedia, it said that album went to number 15, which is the single went to number 2. Oh, actually, it did go to number 1.
Yeah,
It went to number 1 in the R&B. So his album went to number 15 in the U.S. In Australia, it only went to the number 99.
The Australians,
yeah,
they live in the outback. They don't have the same American paranoia that we have of government intrusion at all levels. You know.
Yeah. Hello, mate. Somebody's watching. I can't relate to that song. Let's hit next.
If somebody's watching you in the outback, you can see it from a good clip away.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. You're right. That is hilarious. They're like, they're coming from New Zealand, are they?
Yeah, you're watching them watch you. There's not much.
Exactly. Just two people watching each other with binoculars from across the water.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Maybe a kangaroo pops up. What's in his pocket, mate? No. Crikey. Yeah.
Somebody's watching me.
We're just doing all Australian every stereotype, and I think he's bringing me a blooming onion.
Somebody's in that koala tree watching me. Yeah. I better put some extra shrimp on the barbie.
You call that a knife? No. You call that a binocular? No.
These are binoculars. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so these are the name of his singles. I never knew this. Okay, of course we knew. Somebody's watching me.
Nobody ever knew this. The name of Rockwell.
I know.
Even Rockwell doesn't remember the name of his singles.
Yeah, we're like, can you name one other song? Okay, another song that did well on the charts. This one went to number 35. It was called "Obscene Phone Caller."
Okay.
His next one was called "Knife."
Rockwell was just terrorized his entire life.
I know, dude. His next one, "He's a Cobra." His next song,
He's a Cobra.
His next one, you'll love this one, "Peeping Tom." This goes
You're shitting me. These are not all.
I swear to you. It says, somebody's watching me, obscene phone caller, knife, he's a Cobra, peeping Tom, Tokyo. I think it might be pronounced Carme because it's with the little thing over the E. And then the last one was Grow Up.
Yeah, grow up, Rockwell. None of these things are happening to you. These are things that happen to beautiful women. These aren't things that happen to you.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, he's age 50.
Peeping Toms.
Exactly.
He's a Cobra.
He's a Cobra, dude.
Cobra is a peeping Tom, and he's watching you.
Oh wait. This is okay. On November. This is according to Wikipedia.
Sending you.
Yeah.
What is it? Obscene phone call? Was that what?
Yeah. Oh wait.
That is not the name, is it? Obscene phone call.
Yeah, obscene phone call. It says obscene phone. Obscene phone caller. By the way, obscene phone caller.
He's getting obscene phone calls from Cobra, who's watching him in Tokyo.
Like, okay, according to Wikipedia, on November 29th, 2018, Rockwell was arrested in Hollywood for allegedly beating a female associate with a chair at the Magic Castle Hotel after she approached him and demanded payment. Rockwell was released. Blah 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 blah. Okay, hopefully he's doing.
Grow
good.
up, Rockwell.
I know.
Grow up.
Yeah, you gave us such good joy with the music in the 80s. Come on, man.
With a song.
Yeah,
no one ever has.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has ever listened to
When I come home
Cobra
at night, I shut the door real tight.
Or obscene phone call.
Yeah, I don't even remember those other ones. It's I don't know if we talked about this on the last one, but
can you imagine putting obscene phone call on a mixtape for some girl?
Just breathing in stuff. I think we did talk about this one in the last episode, but I'll say it again. We're watching a live performance not that long ago of Ray Parker Jr. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. And he actually held up his pinky and his thumb to his ear, and then he made the dial motion, like the old-fashioned rotary dial. Who are you going to call? It's like, dude. But yeah, back to the comedy. I like a nice wood stool. I like to set something flat. Even the microphone, I don't want it rolling all around if I'm going to put the microphone down for a quick second.
Yeah.
It was a really fun show to be back. I feel pretty well oiled up there. I feel like I'm not rusty too much, and man, it felt really great. And then I got to do the Long Beach Laugh Factory on Sunday, which I was just so appreciative that, number one, that the Long Beach Laugh Factory still exists, because you just don't know. After 14, 15 months, you don't know. And then
Sure.
I know they had there was a lot of damage to the building a year ago, but then they've repaired it, and at least there was some in the front. You could see where they repaired it. But it was great though. I got to say, in the audience, and it was it looked more full than it was pre-COVID. And they spaced them out, but I still got to say the way that they were. The energy was awesome. I don't see anybody on their phones like they used to be. I felt like they just wanted to laugh and have a good time, and
Yeah.
very appreciative. This couple came up to me afterwards. They go, yeah, comedy was our thing, man. We used to go to comedy all the time. We'd go to different clubs, and they started naming the clubs, and they go, we're so glad to come back, and it was really a nice welcome back. And
Yeah.
I got to
I
tell you,
just played the belly room for the first time.
I was going to tell the audience that, like, I called you randomly, and you were like, "Hey, I'm booked at the Comedy Store tonight," and I was like, "Wow!" So for the people that aren't familiar, in the Comedy Store. There's 3 rooms. There's the main room, there's the original room, they call it the OR, and then there's the belly room, and it was great, man. So tell us all about that. What was that? What was it like to step foot back there?
Well, first of all, I called in my avails last week for the first time. I was like, I'm seeing lineups, so I should start calling in avails. And I called in, and they were like, "Oh, we've been doing it for 2 weeks." And I was like, "Oh shit, I have been missing out on chances to go." And so this week they gave me a spot, and I had kind of been under the impression that they were doing what I would do in this situation, which is just book the big headliners for all the spots, for every possible spot that you've got, and not even worry about everyone else right now. It's like try and recoup from the last year. But I looked at the lineup, and I was like, they're actually doing a pretty good job, because there's a lot of people on these that I've never heard of, or that I know aren't like headliner status, and they're kind of just sandwiching them in every now and again on the list, and because I think it's not so much important for the club to do that, but it's important for comedy to do that, to like kind of nurture along all the other people in comedy. But like from a money-making standpoint, they very easily could have just gone headliner, headliner, headliner all the way down the line. But I think it's wise to throw a few people in that aren't at that level yet and expose the audience to those people, because the Comedy Store initially was the place that did that the most. I felt like they were always kind of bringing up new talent and turning them into headliners, whereas like the Improv is kind of like the big showcase club in Hollywood, I guess, where it was just like, if you're on a show at the Improv, you got some recent sort of TV or movie stuff happening.
Yeah, I remember when I showcased for Mitzi Shore, God rest her soul, the advice people are giving me is don't go in looking too polished. She wants to maybe develop you, and kind of, so go in with more of that attitude. Like do some, do what you do, but don't go too polished. Don't be, yeah,
exactly.
And it was great advice to get in with her and to get passed by her at that time.
Yeah, she wanted you playing those different rooms, and each of those rooms has a different vibe to it, and they each focus on different strengths for a comedian. Like when you're playing the main room, you're doing your most polished act, and you better deliver, because that room is a little bit more expensive. The audiences are more apt to buy champagne and that sort of stuff. And, so it's like they really do. If you don't grab them, every time you tell a bad joke, they're thinking, God, I paid a lot of money to come in here, and this guy's bombing.
Yeah, I'm funnier at work than these guys. Yeah.
Right. And then the OR is a much more laid back vibe, but it's also like laid back on both fronts, where the audience is a little rowdier, and a little more
Yeah.
loose,
Yeah, I'm here on business, and then I go back to wherever I'm from, and I'm staying at the hotel across the street, and I just wanted to come over here and.
Right, and they may get hammered and think the two of you are having a private conversation, even though
Totally.
everyone else is there, and,
Yeah.
and so you learn a lot about crowd work in that room.
Yeah.
And the belly room is a very intimate little space. It's like, I don't know if little's the right word, but it's closer to like a black box theater, like one of those smaller experimental theaters. And in that, you can really do very nuanced sort of stuff, because every seat has a really good view of your face up close.
Yeah, that's a room that room was.
Yeah.
It used to be kind of difficult for me,
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got more experience, it became wonderful, because I'm like, I can relate to the people, and they're right there, and let's just I know I'm gonna power through, because I'm like, I experienced. But I remember earlier, like in the '90s, I remember trying to, I do some stuff, then I would test some stuff, and then if I got any pushback from like anyone trying to, like you said, interact with me, and especially if it was more of a negative way, I would just be like, I'd fold like a deck of cards and be like, okay, and then I'd just go back to like a bit that I knew was going to work, and then I'd get out of there.
Right, and it's like you play that room enough, and you start to realize that the many differences in the way people heckle, and how there's soft heckling, which a lot of people outside the business don't know about, which is where someone is actually yelling something very supportive, but it's still disrupting the flow,
Yeah. Totally.
They can still throw off your timing when they're like, good job, or whatever,
Yeah, you might do a joke and hear someone go, because I remember the first time I heard someone yell out, "You stupid," but and I was thinking, oh, okay, that's good, it's a compliment, like just keep it, you know what I mean, roll with it.
Yeah.
But if earlier I would have been like I don't know what they meant by that. Is that a bad thing? Am I corny?
They think I'm uneducated.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what?
Oh no.
A thing that I'm very grateful is to be past that neediness of a newer type of comedian. There's a comedian that I'm not going to say his name, but he's a friend of mine, and he's been doing it for a long time, but he doesn't have a lot of stage time. So like even more than COVID, like time would go by where he wouldn't get up that much. So he's still at that level of, he wants to do a set and then go over and talk to the booker, like, what'd you think? And get their opinion, or the manager.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think? I had to tell him, I go, man, don't do, that's, try to resist that, because because you're already putting them up above you in a position of like, you know what I mean? Just roll with it, man. Just, you did good. Just roll with it.
Well, not just that, it puts them in an awkward position too. Like, because what if they just, a lot of bookers are smart enough to know that even if something's not their cup of tea, if it was getting a lot of laughs, don't worry, they get it.
Right.
But a lot of people get that insecurity that I didn't see the booker laughing. No, but they saw everybody else laughing. So relax.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
It doesn't matter so much if they like you. It's if the audience likes you. They're looking at it from a business standpoint.
I heard
but
that. Yeah. There was I did the road, and I remember I was doing morning radio, and the DJs were asking the club manager. They go, "Hey, what about so and so?" It was like some celebrity that came through. And the guy goes, he was awful. His comedy was just not there. They go, but he signed every autograph and hung out with the fans, and we added a second show on Sunday. And he goes, I'd love to have him back. He sells tickets. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's the answer.
It's mercenary, but it's the correct answer. It's as long as the audience felt they got their money's worth, and left having a good time. Funny is almost irrelevant,
Right.
If they had fun, that's the important thing. If they got to forget their troubles for an hour, whether it was through humor or through, oh my God, so-and-so is here.
Yeah.
Either way, mission accomplished,
Oh, Oh, by the way,
And,
I want to give a special shout out. There's somebody who listened to our podcast. We talked on the last episode about different. We got into at one point, what color of pen do you use? What color of ink? And
I know who you're gonna say. Go ahead. And
shout out to, his name is Phil Sargent on Twitter. He's known as, I think it's Satiralicious.
Satiralicious.
Satiralicious. Yeah, he's like, I bought a 4-pack of like all these different colors
of blue pens. Yeah,
yeah.
I was just crapping on blue pens to have something to talk about. I don't have a really firm belief, but he's sent a tweet and tagged me in it saying, like Mike Black says, blue pens. Anyone who uses blue pens is washed up in comedy, so I'm gonna pack it in. And I was like, easy. That's not. Yeah. I'm joking. I don't mean it. And then one of our other listeners said that blue pens are what they use as a lawyer all the time because it's too easy to fake black.
Oh, that was interesting, right? Yeah.
For signatures and stuff. So I was like, well, your jokes may not be funny, but they'll be legally binding. That's
yeah. Oh yeah, her name is Diana Holiday. Shout out to Diana Holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah, here's what she wrote. She wrote, "It's true. People are nuts lately. They drive." Oh yeah, we were talking about a little bit of road rage, blah blah blah. Oh, and I gave that hot tip. If you need to use the restroom, guys, and you're on the road, go to Arby's because there's plenty of parking and the bathrooms are clean. And she writes, always use blue ink, and especially when it might have something you need to prove is original, like for a legal issue. Why? Because any document can be forged and or a copy, not the original. And that signature will always be black in a copy. Only the original documents. I worked in a law office, and this is what we always did. So shout out to Diana Holiday.
Yeah.
And also Christopher McRae. Yeah, I like what he wrote about road rage. He said, drive mellow. The life you save may be your own. And shout out to 100% Canadian maple stirrup. Yeah, this man, I love anybody.
I thought that last part was another Twitter person.
No, you know what?
100% maple syrup.
Guys, when I put these on YouTube, guys, if you listen, please do us a favor and comment, give it a thumbs up. Help that algorithm on YouTube. That really helps tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah, people, I know I'm this way too, where I'll be like, it doesn't matter if I like this or not. It matters to the creator of it a lot. It makes a big difference on whether it's going to be featured to people and shown to more people.
Yeah, and I do it out of habit now. Every time I watch a video, I just go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It doesn't take anything away from me. It adds to them. And also, if anything, if I stumble across the video and I see that I've given a thumbs up, I'm like, oh, I've already watched this video. So it's kind of a reminder to myself, like, oh, I've seen this one.
Right. Like the big things you can do to help out any creator are what you hear them say at the end of each thing, like, comment, and subscribe. Any of those things really, really help out. For if you do like something, don't be passive about it. Be aggressive about it,
Yeah. Don't stop keeping us a secret, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got this secret podcast.
All out of the 8 of you, 4 of you have liked, commented, and subscribed. The other 4
shout out to Rems.
Coasting off of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little about wrestling. I love. Sure. It's so funny. Like I watched it as a little bit as a middle schooler, and then I got out of it, and I know that it was it was so popular to people. But I've been watching clips lately online, and I'm like,
well, let me ask you a very important question. When do you think was the first time you watched wrestling?
Gosh, I would say it was probably a Saturday, and I was most likely in 7th grade.
7th grade already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were exposed to it at an age where it all made sense, kind of.
Yeah, where we were still debating if it was real or not real, and all that dumb stuff. Where the friends at school were like, some thought it was real, and others were like, "There's no way it's real. Those guys are too big, and they would just kill each other." And then others were like, "No,
they're too big, and they would just kill each other."
So, but I thought
that was a good argument.
Yeah, and I thought it was wildly entertaining, and and then as I got older, I realized like, oh, there are different regions, and there was people that would only, I guess, from what I understand, maybe only wrestle in like this region of the United States, but they would sell out Madison Square Garden, and like Bruno Santino, I think, was huge hugely popular with like the Italian population in New York.
Bruno San Martino, right?
San Martino, that's the name. Yes.
Yeah. And every, you know, for all the movement that's happening now for inclusivity, wrestling had Glow way back in the day, which was all female wrestling. They had damn near a representative for every culture, you know, and there was a lot of inclusivity. Now, a lot of it was stereotyped all to hell, to be sure. But they employed a lot of people from all walks of life, and you had more exposure to people from all walks of life if you were watching wrestling than just about any other form of entertainment at that time.
Yeah, so entertaining. It was like these big cartoon characters, and
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting, man. Like, I looked
And
at,
like right now, it's like Asian American Pacific Islander. It's like we had, you know, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who was that, and he was like, that dude was a hero to everybody. You know, it didn't matter. And that was the thing. If you were a good wrestler, at least in my experience with the kids I played with, your race or nationality, what have you, none of that mattered.
I think
it just mattered how good you were. You know?
Right. And that's what a wonderful thing about entertainment. The same thing, like, you know, like some of our, you know, an entertainer doesn't have to look like me or the audience. I mean, you like who you like. It's like it could be anybody. It could be, you know, any weight, any
what
color,
matters
any
is that
gender.
you deliver.
You know, I mean, I actually went through, speaking of Michael Jackson, I went through my Michael Jackson phase where I was sort of dressing like Michael. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I knew kids, you know, it's like, it would be considered bad now, but like, there were a ton of kids that wanted so badly to be Mr. T that they dressed up like him.
All the jewelry.
And like on Halloween and stuff. And it was like, you know, God bless them. They're trying their best, you know, to be as close to Mr. T as they can. But, you know,
I used to walk around. I used to have penny loafers. I used to have high waters because I just thought it was cool to show my white socks underneath. I mean, it looked nothing like, you know what I mean? I had my little red jacket. I remember I went to school and I had a gardener's glove because it had like the beads on it, for the rubber beads for grip. And this girl was just laughing.
I'm going to send you a picture of me if I can find it.
Oh, we have to post this.
Where I had like a bowl cut. This was back when I had hair. It was like maybe the worst hair helmet of all time. And like a Michael Jackson style, like Beat It jacket on.
Yeah.
And it was before I had braces, so my teeth are all gnarly and messed up, and I'm smiling my ass off because I'm so happy that I'm wearing that jacket to school. And this was like in elementary school, and I was like, yeah, and like so, and I had my mom make me a sequin glove.
Oh, see, that's so
I was
sweet.
like it's one of those things that I've kind of blocked out a little bit, but as we're talking about it, it's like, wow, I forgot how into Michael Jackson I was and how into it everyone was. I went to the Victory Tour.
Oh, man, you did?
The 85 reunion at Mile High Stadium. They had that. And in Denver, Colorado. And
I remember when they were in Kansas City because we were on vacation and they were on the radio. They were like the Victory Tour, Michael Jackson will be and I was like, wow, I'm like this close because I grew up in Fresno, you know, and so we were in Kansas City or near Kansas City at the time, and I'm like, wow, like I'm that close to Michael Jackson. Like you start thinking like, as a kid, you're just like, I might be breathing the same air as him. This is crazy.
Yeah, people don't get how big a deal he was at that time. It was insane. And like, we went there and they imagine how terrible this would be to be the opener for the Victory Tour. The first guy they had out was literally a guy who just juggled light up balls.
Oh, that was a comedian. Was his name Chris Alpine?
I have no idea. Nobody cared what his name was.
That was one of his credits. So he would be like, I've opened for Michael Jackson or something, but it might have been who it was. It might have been. I think his name was Chris Alpine. I don't know.
It really, whoever it is, they don't want their name associated with this because he was literally booed off stage.
Oh, that's hilarious. No
People
wonder.
were like, "We want the Jacksons, get off stage."
No wonder. Yeah. No wonder he was so bitter when I worked with them.
So yeah, I would imagine if he toured with them, that happened a lot, you know. But
yeah.
But so then, like, all these lasers fire into the night sky, and I'm up in the nosebleeds, but I can still see everything very well. And they have these big jumbotrons.
Dude, I'm looking it up on Wikipedia. You saw this either September 7th or September 8th. It said Denver Mile High Stadium. Oh my God, the audience was over 100,000 people, 105. That's amazing. I've never been in the crowd that big.
Sure, I'm sure you have at some point.
I went to Staples Center, and I don't think Staples seats that many.
But it was massive, and so all these lasers go off. Then everyone thinks I'm making this up, but if you watch the footage of the concert, this is what happened. 5, like the lasers hit the stage, and there's kind of like an explosion.
Whoa!
And then these 5 Skeksis-looking creatures, like from the Dark Crystal, are on stage wearing armor, and you start hearing the opening riff of "I Can Feel It."
I can feel it.
Yeah, that song is going. And I'm not kidding. They got James Earl Jones.
Wow.
To do a voiceover about how we've been battling. There's been a constant struggle between good and evil forever, and how music is the ultimate weapon in this struggle. Wow. And how important the Jacksons are. They're fighting evil with their music, you know. And then all the puppets that are on stage draw their swords. They unite their swords. The laser hits their swords. The puppets explode. The Jacksons appear on stage.
Wow.
Replacing each of the puppets. Tito starts doing his riff, and I can feel it. Jermaine starts doing his I Can Feel It. Randy's doing his. And the other one, who nobody remembers his name, starts doing his thing. And then Michael moonwalks center stage, does the spin that we later learned is so fast that it can put out fire. He grabs his crotch, throws the gloved hand up into the air, and goes, "Ooh!" And that's the last thing I remember.
Wow. I'm looking
like I'm sure other stuff happened after that.
That must have just been that right there was worth the ticket price.
Yeah, to like an 8-year-old me, that was all my brain could handle.
So I'm looking at the set list, and I don't know if they changed it or what, but it looks like you go through all that, and that was just killer. And then the music changes to, "You want to be starting something, you got to be starting something."
Yeah.
I mean, that was just, I'm getting goosebumps right now, literally getting goosebumps, because I'm picturing the energy in that song, and then it's the start of a show, and it's like, "You want to be starting something, you got to be starting something." You guys must have been just like, "Oh my gosh, it can't get any better." It's like,
and this was the 80s. There's not a whole lot going on outside, outside of that arena.
Yeah, I know, right?
This was the biggest thing that had ever happened.
Oh my God, yeah.
And at the time, it was like Michael Jackson had just met E.T.,
Oh,
the president had given him some sort of weird medal. He was as famous as any human could possibly be on planet Earth, you know.
Gosh. Okay, so then they go through the set list. Okay, you guys can look it up yourselves. It's great. Trust me on this. There's Jackson songs. There's medleys.
What did they close with?
That's what we're gonna get to. They're gonna excuse me. Let me clear my throat. All right. So we come back. They do the encore, right? They go off stage, and I love it when these people do this, right? Like these performers, or the crowd's like, "Is it over? Is it not over?" And then you're just like, "We want Mike Black. We want Mike Black. Or whatever, you know.
That's always what happens.
Yeah. So then, party starter, or whatever. So then they come back out. Boom. They do 4 songs. The first one is "Got Me Doing Working Day and Night." Got me working day and night. Boom.
Where was that song featured the most in the 80s? Do you remember?
I don't know.
It was and they played this on rotation on MTV every day. the making of Thriller.
Oh.
And they showed all the dancers rehearsing the zombie dances and stuff.
Oh.
And they did like kind of like a day in the life of production of like them waking up, showing up, dancing with Michael, dancing without Michael, all that stuff, getting their zombie makeup put on. Yeah, that song was pretty cool.
So you'd see, I see. So, it's so cool. Cut me working day and night. By the way, I've been on a Vincent Price kick lately. It's so funny you say that. I was watching, because he had the closing monologue, the Thriller. I have a friend. He had no idea. He's like, yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend Carmen, and I told her that Vincent Price was in Thriller, and I do somewhat remember that. And he said, the minute he said that, he goes, she started reciting the lines. And then I started reciting the lines. He couldn't believe that we all knew these lines. He's probably a little older he's like late 50s. But I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, without even trying, you probably know some of those Thriller lines. Am I right?
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hours
close at hand. Creatures
crawl in search of blood.
To terrorize
y'all's neighborhood.
And whosoever shall be found
without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell or rot inside a corpse shell.
Or rot. I like when you rolled his rot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even a guy that can memorize lyrics. Like I'm not one of those people that like, I remember one time we took a field trip in school and all these kids were singing Beatles songs. They knew all the words. And I'm like, wow, that's a talent. Because I just don't do that,
Now, you've heard the B cut that they released a few years back of Vincent Price doing that?
Maybe. What was that? Where is it just...
Where he does that cackle at the end, that great laugh.
Yeah, that thing.
And he goes on for a little while, and then it pauses for a moment, and he goes, oh, that was great fun.
Oh, that was great fun. I think he memorized the lines, or he was going over the script in the limo on the way to the studio. I read somewhere. There's
John Houseman had him on his show and asked him. He was like, "That's the #1 video in the world, the #1 song. How much did you make off that? He went, not a penny." He's like, they just asked me to do it, and it sounded like fun, and I did it.
If people go to YouTube, they can see he did it on the Joan Rivers show, and he does the monologue, and it's not exactly the same as the recording, but it's still really cool to see him do it. But okay, back to this encore. So you got me working day and night, and then the next song, Beat It. Do 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 do, just beat it, and then. The third song is Billie Jean. Do, 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 do. You guys must have just lost your mind. She was more like and then and then here comes the final song is Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. And it says contains excerpts from Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Ooh, don't stop till you get enough. Good night. And then the music just played and you guys were just like floating away back to the parking lot. That must have been like, wow.
Yeah, people were like stomped because it's an old school stadium on the metal and the rafters, and everyone was doing that like to the beat of different songs and stuff. It was amazing.
Whoa. Okay, I'm looking at all the stadiums. So yours was pretty big, but there's ones that were even bigger, like Dallas, Texas Stadium, 118,803 tickets were sold.
Yeah.
Kansas City, 135,000 in Arrowhead, 135,000 people. Oh my gosh.
Now, when you think about that, like one of the stadiums was 126,818 people.
Mm-hmm.
As a performer, imagine just performing for the 818 people. And like that's a pretty big number. Like you've seen that many people at a show.
Yeah.
But like, it's that plus 120,000 more.
The biggest one that I can see, and then I'll close my computer. It's Los Angeles Dodger Stadium. It was 150,000 people.
Yeah,
but maybe
I saw
that might have been over the course of like 8 shows or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know.
I saw the Police at Dodger Stadium, and that was a big, impressive crowd. That was when they did their reunion tour.
Oh, I thought you meant the actual Police. No.
No, well, I
Heyo.
actually, what's funny is I saw them too, and I took a picture with them at the Police concert, and and I and they were like, "What's this for?" And I was like, "I want to do a post that says I went to the Police concert, and then I got a picture with them." And they were
Oh,
like, "Okay, that's funny."
they're all like on guard. Like, that's funny. Okay. Ha
Yeah.
ha ha. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
Yeah. 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 You know what? That's if a group was starting today, they might not want to call themselves the Police. Only I just don't, the way that things are right now. Like,
Yeah, at this time, not so much. And I think originally they were called that in an ironic
right.
sort of way.
There was another
You know.
thing we went to, we were at the Grove in Hollywood, you know, on Fairfax over there. And they had headshots that people had signed, different celebrities, and one of them was a DJ. Do you remember? I'm, Shotgun Tom Kelly in your automobile.
Oh yeah, of course.
And that's another one I
Shotgun Tom Kelly.
thought. Right.
He sounded like he had always just finished putting together a really good bowl of chili.
Yeah, that's Shotgun Tom Kelly. I like it because he says in your automobile.
Yeah, I'm Shotgun Tom Kelly. You want onions on that?
That's another one. I don't think if today, like you imagine walking to a radio station. Yeah, I'm gonna nickname myself Shotgun. We're like, I don't know, buddy.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that people did in the '80s that just wouldn't work today. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, I'm a savage.
Well, Macho Man probably wouldn't be the thing to go with.
Yeah.
Savage is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh
If
yeah.
you were just Savage Randy Savage, that would probably turn some heads in the right way.
Yeah. And then remember the Village People? They had a song called "Macho Macho Man."
I watched a thing on YouTube. This to me they're really hilarious. This girl Natalie Gold, who was like raised along with us, but was kind of sheltered, and she watches old '80s movies for the first time, and it got to the point where Darth Vader chops Luke's hand off in Empire Strikes Back, and she goes, "That guy is savage."
He's a savage. Yeah.
I was like, that's one of the funniest things I've heard, because I've heard a million people. We're all so used to all that stuff that when you hear someone who's never seen it talk about it, it's hilarious to me. You
know what we looked up last night? We were watching a music video. I think it was called Laurel Canyon. It was excuse me, a documentary, Laurel Canyon. It was with Jacob Dylan, and they covered all the music that, from that time period, from like 65 to 67, I want to say. And
yeah,
it was great, man. It was really cool to like hear a lot of those songs, but for some reason we got on a kick of excuse me one second. I think they mentioned Frank Zappa. And
oh yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. See, now I first heard about Frank Zappa through Valley Girl, his daughter. And did you know that song? Did they play that where you live? Valley Girl, she's a Valley Girl. Okay,
yeah,
fine,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, they played that. I didn't care for it, but they played it.
That was So in Fresno in the 80s, like it's also the Valley. So I think they probably played it more because we're like, yeah, we're a valley,
right?
But it's not the Valley. It's like
I think it was like the anthem, maybe for your area.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I got the lyrics. I'm gonna read some of them to you. It goes like, oh my God, and she's Valley Girl, like totally Valley Girl, and Cena. She goes, it's so bitchin', it's so bitchin'. And I remember a guy like not that long ago that referred to his sunglasses as bitchin'. He's like, I got these bitchin' shades, and I was like,
I say it all the time.
Do you still say that?
Ironically.
Oh, it's fun. It's bitchin'.
Like, yeah, I'll say it to be mean sometimes. Like, bitchin' jacket, and like it's a real good put down because no one's expecting that.
I remember like all those words like gag me with a spoon and totally tubular, and
I remember on the Pac-Man cartoon they made Pac-Man a family man, and one of his daughters
hilarious
was a Valley Girl, and during the commercial break she would go, "Oh, gag me with a rocket ship. We're going to commercial." And I always thought that was hilarious for some reason.
Oh, by the way, guys, you can play Pac-Man totally for free. And you know how to do this?
I don't.
I go to Google, and you know how on Google it says, like, I'm feeling lucky, or I'm feeling generous, or I'm feeling trendy.
Right.
I'm feeling hungry. I saw one that said, like, I'm trying to find it right now, but, like, basically, there's all these old video games. I'm feeling doodly. I'm feeling artistic. I don't know which one it is, but there was one you could play Pac-Man. I played Pac-Man on my MacBook, and it lasted about 2 minutes, and I was like, okay, I see that I can do it, and let me get back to work. Let me get back to work.
So there is a way to play Pac-Man. You don't know what it is.
Oh, I'm feeling playful. Maybe that's what you click. I'm going to click it right now. Oh, wait. No, that's not it. That's making me play instruments.
It's just a bunch of porn.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling playful. No. I don't know how to do it. I feel like I was about to give you guys a hot tip, and then I petered out at the end.
Bitch and tip, Darren.
Yeah, bitch and how the hell do you do it? I don't know. I did it the other day. I did it one time. I clicked that thing, and I was like, what does that do? And then it showed like all these old like arcade games. I'm like, this is so cool. And then like I said, it lasted for about 2 minutes, and I'm like, it's not the same. I don't have the controller. I'm using your arrow and backspaces, and you know.
Yeah, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and I hear the music and the all that stuff. Did you know that if you stick your index finger in your ears and you wiggle it up and down, it sounds like Pac-Man?
I did not know that.
Try it right now. Do it with me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. People at home,
Kinda, yeah.
do it. Take your earbud out and wiggle your finger up and down. It's kind of cool.
I don't know if "cool's" the right word, but it is. It is a thing.
That's what we did in Fresno in the 80s. Hey, Mom, I'm all out of quarters. Let me
Stick your finger in your ear.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Mike, it's been a wonderful hour hanging out with you, man. Thank you so much. We'll end on
Has it?
Yeah. We started with a bang, and then we end this with fingers and orifices, taking us back to the 80s.
It was like a lot of my dates.
It was bitchin', man. No.
It was totally tubular and radical.
Always fun. Guys, thank you. Please do us a favor. Go to YouTube, check out our videos, share our content, like, subscribe, comment. Mike Black is wonderful, man. And you guys go see it. We're going to be performing again and again. So it looks like things are opening up, and hopefully you'll catch us together in a town somewhere near you. And,
yeah, that'd be great.
Wouldn't it be great, man? We'll, do some tours and maybe do a live podcast. And even if we do
what would be fun to do is do this like right after a show.
Totally. Oh my gosh.
You know?
And we might even, we could probably start small, like local, like in LA somewhere where we're not like
perform at an Arby's or something. And then,
exactly. We're like,
do it after.
We'll hand out blue pens, and people will get the inside joke. Like,
get notes from everyone at the end.
Yeah. We'll get notes with the blue pen. That's funny, but. All right, buddy. Mike, thank you. Any words of wisdom? Or
I don't know. Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe. Do your thing.
Sure.
Don't drive too crazy. Be good to
each
other.
Lot of people are just getting back out on the road now, and it's real Mad Maxy. So try and be extra cautious.
Yes, I saw a Mad Maxy thing the other day. Seriously, I was on my way to that Long Beach Laugh Factory, and I hadn't taken the 5 and the 710 in a long time. And I saw this dumb kid, like teenager or like probably like maybe early 20s, literally leaning out of the passenger window, like almost like he was sitting on the door. He was almost that far out. And these guys are going like 80, 90 miles an hour down the. And I'm like, I just didn't want to see what was. I was like, dude, you're stupid, man. And man, I just thought, I know we've done some dumb stuff when we were young, but I never did anything. I mean, come on, man, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like, I know it's easy to get frustrated out there, but just think to yourself, is it worth the 30 seconds that I'm saving?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think I think he was doing it just to be like, oh, look how funny I am. I'm hanging out the window of a moving vehicle.
Right.
Like,
yeah, till a post comes along or something,
Yeah. It was just like,
But like, I see a lot of people in my area, especially, like, there'll be the lane where someone's on a bike, and they'll go around them, but they'll gun it as they go around them.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so dangerous, like for everybody involved.
Yeah, you might be kicking up a rock or something. It's just
just be a little patient with each other.
That's right.
I guess that's is kind of a downer, but it's a good thing, I think. Be
exactly.
Try not to murder each other on the roads.
We start the show with dad jokes. We end with dad advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're like, yeah. Mike, you're the best, man. Thank you, and we have so much to talk about, and we'll get you back on soon, and keep being funny online and offline, and we'll see each other. And by the way, I just found out when I talked to you on the phone that you were at a Sizzler, and I had no idea that Sizzlers were even a thing, and I'm glad that they're back.
Yes, yes, they are, and they're worth going to if you get a chance. Enjoy a good. That's what you do. Don't kill anyone on the road and go to Sizzler.
Go to Sizzler. There's a Sizzler in Burbank that I've been to before, and now it's completely gone, and it's a dentist office.
Well, if you're in Burbank, go to Gyugaku.
Ooh.
That's barbecue that you can do yourself. They bring you the different meats and stuff like that, and they have a little grill. And then because you have that grill for dessert, you can do s'mores.
Wow. What's it called?
Gyugaku. GYU-KAKU.
Nice.
And they're delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Oh, that sounds delicious. That sounds great. That sounds like something you wouldn't eat at home, so go get it somewhere else.
Yeah, if you want, we'll do that sometime and then do a podcast. We could do a podcast after anything, Darren. Any experience.
Exactly.
Have you been to the Batman statue in Burbank?
Yes, I did. I went there with my son. We didn't even know it was there, and then we saw it, and we're like, oh my gosh, and then we took a photo. Yeah, absolutely.
Where is that exactly?
It's you guys, listen to the next episode. We'll unlock this information. No, I'm just kidding. Like we all pre-planned it. Like, guys, we've got what do they call it when you like clickbait? On this podcast, we'll tell you. No, it's right there behind Flappers at the Burbank, like not the mall, but across the street from the mall, like that outdoor area, like the downtown.
By the movie theater?
Yes, right in front, right near the movie theaters. Exactly, the movie theaters.
Oh, okay.
There's a wood
ranch. Oh, so they must have just put that up recently.
I just saw it maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago is when I first discovered it.
Yeah, I got some sort of ad about why aren't you in Burbank looking at the Batman statue? And I was like, I guess I should.
Oh man, you got to do that.
Yeah,
we'll do a podcast there.
Because Batman has done so much important work for Burbank.
Yeah.
It's about time they gave him a statue.
You know what? I got to tell you real quick. I know we got to go, but I love the Prince album. That was all the Batman soundtrack. I love that. That was a great album at the time.
Oh yeah,
I used to listen to it on loop. It was so good. Batman.
Well, and that the theme held true in that album. Elevator was his code for the devil.
Wow.
Because you couldn't say, I guess the record labels didn't want you talking about the devil. So the elevator, trying to bring him down was the devil.
Interesting. I got on the elevator the other day, and I was on the elevator, and this lady got on just for one floor, but I was cool with it. See, that's the thing. Pre-COVID, I used to get irritated by that. Where I'm thinking, you can't walk down one flight of stairs, but now I'm like, yeah, it's all good. I got a friend for this little ride. we talked. She was friendly. She's like, hey, I like your, because I had like a neck gaiter, red, white, and blue American flag neck gaiter. And she's like, oh, I like your flag. I go, yeah. And we started talking about Memorial Day, and she's like, yeah, I went to a Dodger Stadium. And then her floor was the thing open, and she got off. But
bye.
Yeah.
That's all you get out of that story. Bye.
Exactly. Bye. Yeah. All right, buddy. Mike, have a great day, man. We'll talk to you later.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you got bye. And that concludes the episode. Guys, if you like what you heard and you want to help the show go, please hit that Venmo at Darren Carter on Venmo. I'm also on PayPal, DarrenCarter.com on PayPal. I'm also available on Cameo to do personal video shout-outs. You give me a few details, and I will do a shout-out using those details. It could be comedy. It could be like, I like my women, it could be anything. Do it for yourself or someone you love or someone you don't love, and I'll roast them, and you send it to them. So I'm on Cameo. Official Darren Carter on Cameo. And like we said on the podcast, do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thanks for sharing part of your day listening to the Pocket Party podcast. All right, now, don't hurt nobody and be careful.
We're done with this interview.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.